Hey guys, this is John Odermatt, the host of Felony Friday, with a quick note before we get rolling into today's show. I wanted to let you guys know, since this is a special time in history, it's 2020, we're entering the Roaring 20s. The Lions of Liberty, we're going to have our best promotion yet for new members joining the Lions of Liberty Pride. It's coming up. The details are not final yet. I will tell you this, it's going to include our new merchandise design, our Lions of Liberty Roaring 20s design. We have that. It's going to be involved in some way. We have not specified yet just how it will be, but you'll get some Roaring 20s merchandise, which is awesome. And you don't want to miss this stuff. So make sure you don't want to miss the announcement for this promotion. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, facebook.com/Lions of Liberty, Instagram @Lions of Liberty, Twitter @Lions of Liberty, and in the Lions of Liberty Forum on Facebook, which of course you can join by punching Lions of Liberty Forum in the search bar at the top of Facebook and joining. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. Make sure to follow. You don't want to miss this promotion announcement.
Welcome to Felony Friday, a presentation of the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here is your host, John Odermatt.
Felons, friends, and freedom lovers, welcome back to another edition of Felony Friday, a weekly show right here on the Lions of Liberty podcast, the OG Libertarian Variety Show. And it is 2020, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited. We got a lot of great stuff planned for this year. Great interview lined up for you today. Just want to remind you, please, if you like this show and you're not subscribed, why do you hate us so much? Please just go hit that subscribe button. Get every single episode of Felony Friday. And also our other two shows, our Monday show with Mark Claire, our Wednesday show, Electric Liberty Land with Brian McWilliams. You don't want to miss any of them. And guys, with that being said, I am going to get to the interview here in just a minute. A couple things I want to talk about, because there's a lot going on right now, beginning of a new year, some things happening in the criminal justice system that I feel need to be addressed. So I'm going to address them. And I'll do it right before this interview. It's going to be real quick. And maybe going forward, this will be something I'll do more often. Maybe not. We'll see. Mixing it up on the first podcast of 2020. So I have to talk about the spending bill that Donald Trump signed that included in it a change to the law that raised the federal legal age for purchasing tobacco from 18 to 21 years old. Now, on the surface here, people might look at this, Susie minivan, or the typical American family out there. The mom and dad look at a law like this, look at a change in law, think, well, there's nothing bad here. It's making it harder for my kid to get cigarettes. That's good, right? I don't want them smoking cigarettes. And you know what? I don't want my kids smoking cigarettes either. I don't want anyone smoking cigarettes. They're not really good for you. I have good friends that smoke, and it's bad for them, but you know what? It's what they want to do. And who am I to stop them from doing what they want to do? And at the end of the day, it's a personal choice for adults, but also it's a personal choice. A kid who's 18 years old, 16 years old, they can make a choice if they want to smoke cigarettes. It shouldn't be a law against doing it. I'm not saying they should do it, but more importantly, by creating this law, they are without a doubt making it more dangerous for these kids who, just because there's a law saying they can't smoke cigarettes until they're 21, if anything, that's going to make it more likely that they want to smoke cigarettes, to do something that's forbidden. And so that's going to add, instead of buying cigarettes from, a CVS, a Rite Aid, a gas station, somewhere where it's well lit and it's sold from a reputable dealer, they'll buy from somebody in a back alley. They'll buy from some nefarious character. They'll buy someone who really doesn't give a shit about the health or well-being of your child. And it introduces the black market. And the black market can definitely have some bad actors in it, without a doubt. And something that I come back to immediately when talking about this with people is, people call marijuana a gateway drug. It's not. The reason people think marijuana is a gateway drug is because often people start with marijuana. It's the first drug that they try. And then they'll try other drugs from there. The reason why that happens is because in order to smoke marijuana, this is changing now, of course, it's been legalized in several states, medically and also recreationally, so that the marijuana laws are changing. But this still holds true in the vast majority of the country. So if somebody wants to go smoke marijuana, they go buy it from someone off the black market, from a dealer. That person, most of the time, is selling more things than just marijuana. Young, impressionable kids are more likely to be pushed, to be influenced, to be persuaded, manipulated, to try other drugs other than marijuana. The same thing is going to happen with cigarettes, because kids are going to want to continue to smoke cigarettes or start to smoke cigarettes because it's what kids do, and kids are stupid. What do you want me to say? It's up to the parent to figure this out. It's not up to the government to come in and make this law. If as a parent you don't want your kids smoking cigarettes when they turn 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever, talk to them. Explain to them why they shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. Explain to them the health risks. And do it in a way that you're not being a jerk that makes them want to just tell you to screw off and go do it anyway. It's called learning how to influence and persuade people. It's most important to do it with your own kids. So maybe parents need to learn a little bit about that, American parents. All right, that's enough of a rant there. I did not plan to talk that long. The other thing that I wanted to... and of course, the other aspect of that is Trump has also been doing the same thing with vaping, or I should say legislators have been doing the same thing with vaping, attacking the vaping market, taking flavored vapes off the market because there's this craze about lung issues being tied to kids vaping. 99% of the lung issues are tied to illicit black market THC vapes, not ones you're buying over the counter. So what do? Well, they make it so more and more of these vaping products are going to be bought off the black market because now they're not sold in stores. So great job, politicians. Fantastic job making life less safe for your children. Second thing I want to talk about, very, very important. Donald Trump, nothing has happened here legislatively or from an executive order standpoint, but in a meeting with aides and other lawmakers, he floated the idea of raising the federal minimum age to buy a rifle, a long gun, to 21 years old. Currently, I think in most states, if not all states, you can buy a rifle when you're 18. Some states, for hunting, you can buy a rifle when you're 14 or 16, especially Midwestern states like Montana, I believe, and places like that, because, you got to be able to hunt. That's what you do out there. But this is so incredibly dangerous. And people come at this from the perspective or from the angle that if individuals, first of all, if you can volunteer to sign up for the draft. No, if you can be coerced into signing up for the military draft as an 18-year-old in the United States, so they can tell you to go to a faraway land with a gun and shoot someone you don't know, but at home, you're not allowed to buy a long gun, buy a rifle to defend yourself from someone breaking into your house, maybe to defend your family, or to defend yourself from the government, which is equally as important. From tyrants in the government. So this is just a very, very scary law. And what's even more scary is Republicans, who are supposed to be protectors of the Second Amendment, supposed to be advocates for gun rights, and silence, hearing nothing, because it's Donald Trump. They can't criticize him. Barack Obama never floated ideas like this. If Barack Obama had floated an idea like this, it would have been a gun rush for everyone to arm up, because Barack Obama's coming for your children's guns. It would have been, all over the news. Fox News would have been talking about it for weeks, but because it's Donald Trump, crickets. You don't hear anything about it. Guys, I just wanted to talk about these two topics today. I think they're very important, and a lot of people out there don't hear about this, don't hear about topics like this from a, whatever you want to call it, a libertarian perspective. I think this is just a reasonable, rational perspective. This is logic, looking at both of these issues. So share this with your friends. Share it with your Democrat, Republican friends, your independent friends. They might hate it. They might hate me. I don't care. And if they do hate this, which they might, I guarantee you they're not going to hate what they hear from my guest, because I have an awesome guest lined up for you today to share his story. So let's get to it. My guest today on Felony Friday is Karl Fort. Karl was initially sentenced to life in federal prison for a drug-related offense in 2016. The federal government did grant his petition for a reduced sentence and reduced it to 30 years, and he was released from prison in January of this year. And today he is here on Felony Friday to share his story. Karl, welcome to Felony Friday.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be on the show.
Well, thank you for coming on the show and being willing to talk about your story and share what you've been through. I want to talk about the events that led to your sentence. But before we get to that, just to give my audience a background of where you come from and who you are, if you could just first talk about your background, where you grew up, what life was like for you growing up.
Well, I grew up in Rockford, Illinois, on the west side of Rockford, and I was living there all my life. I basically, grew up like every other normal kid to, when incident took a toll in our household to where my parents had separated. So, when the house broke up, I ended up going my way, and I went to the streets. And that's where I found my love and my loyalty to the streets. And one thing led to another. I ended up catching a federal case. And I went to trial, and they gave me a life sentence. And at the time, I didn't know nothing about the 100-to-1 drug ratio. And when I said it and understood that hearsay can be admissible in the federal court of law, I'm like, man, wow. So that was like a wake-up experience to me going through the trial, because I never went through a trial. I always had it dismissed at the preliminary hearing. But this time I went to trial and ended up getting convicted for a drug conspiracy. And the killing thing about it is that crack is no different from powder. So whoever came up with this assumption about it's worse, and this and that, it's nothing. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you. You said that you had some run-ins with the law prior to that. How old were you the first time that you had an arrest?
I think I was 17 or 18. Yeah, I think I was 18.
Mm-hmm. And that one, so it just preliminary charges, and then you didn't go to trial?
No, I didn't go to trial because they couldn't find the witness.
Mm-hmm.
So they dismissed the case.
So when you say you went, what happened with your family growing up, and you went to the streets, were you involved with gang-related activity, or what type of stuff are you doing?
Yeah, I was part of a street organization. I can say, that, I grew accustomed to something that I love, and that's what I love, because they were showing me love too. So, and they was educating me about being a man, so
yeah.
I was basically took the responsibility of raising the ones in the neighborhood,
Yeah. So fast forward to when you catch this case and you get convicted. You said you took it to trial. What was the reason? Did they offer you a plea deal at that time?
Yeah, they had offered me a plea of 30 years, and I'm like, 30 years? So I didn't know how much 30 years, because they don't say it in years. They say like 360 months. So I'm like, dang, 360 months. So what I do on that? And when they told me, I said, man, they crazy.
And that was for how much?
360 months. That's 30 years. That's life. That's a life sentence
for how much crack?
Well, we didn't get caught with no crack.
Okay.
What it was, the testimony in the trial led up to the amounts. The jury didn't find me guilty of no drug amount. The judge took it upon himself to sentence me to the stuff that cooperated with the evidence.
Yeah, so based on whatever, if they bring a cooperating witness up and they say there's this amount, they count that towards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like they say, they probably say, well, this guy probably say he was working for us for 6 months, and he was making a day $10,000 a day, but he probably wasn't making no $10,000 a day, because you have some good days and you have some bad days.
Mm-hmm. That's so crazy that they get away with that. They're taking this. Obviously, the people who are testifying, the people who are witnesses for the prosecution, they're compromised. I mean, they're getting favors in return, right, for their sentences to be reduced.
Right.
So
right.
It's a racket. So you end up getting the sentence, life in prison, right?
Right.
What were your first thoughts at that point in time when you heard that?
Well, shoot, my first thought, my understanding was zero, And, I'm glad I was in MCC Chicago, because, I had a lot of older men around me that was kind of schooling me and telling me what I should do and how I should maneuver in prison and stuff like that. So I ended up going to prison and having a good report on my name.
So did you move around to a bunch of different prisons, or where did you spend the majority of your time?
Well, I moved around. Like, I've been to Leavenworth when it was a USP. I've been to Florence, USP. Mm-hmm. And I've been to Pollock, Louisiana, USP. And I've been to Terre Haute, USP. And then I went to Oxford, FCI. That's what I got released from Oxford.
And you did a total of what, 25 years?
26 years and 9 months.
26 years, 9 months. So how were you able to, when you're in prison, you're facing this long sentence? I mean, I guess before I ask that, so you're facing a life sentence, and you said that you had, older people in the prison kind of took you under their wing. But I mean, what type of advice did they give you to deal with that, to navigate and to mentally deal with potentially being in prison for life?
Oh, well, they just taught me, how to, don't be socializing with a lot of people, or don't spread yourself thin dealing with a lot of people, because a lot of people don't mean good in prison. You got some good ones, but if you've been in the streets, you're a good judge of character to know which one is on BS and which one is is healthy.
You said you had good behavior while you were in prison. At what point did you start to think that maybe you can get some sort of clemency and maybe get this thing reduced?
Well, when it first. Because I kept up with the political movement, what was going on the streets. And when Obama, when he became president, before he became president, because it was some people that know him, and people was talking to him, and they was telling him what was going on with their relatives in prison and stuff like that. So we already had an idea of there was going to be some changes, because the people that he was talking to was saying if he get in office, you know, he's going to change. He's going to do what he can. And for real, he could have did more than that, you know, but, you know, he wanted to, I guess, I don't know. I can't say. But I know he could have did a blanket commutation instead of letting them people deal with the inmates, because a lot of them, they didn't even help. There's a lot of people that still need to be out.
Yeah, there's people in prison still today for life with life sentences for marijuana, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, I know one. I was in an institution with one.
Yeah. Yeah,
he out of Ohio.
Okay. It's mind blowing, and you tell people that, and it's how could anybody? I mean, first of all, nobody should be in prison for life for selling any drug. I mean, just want to make that clear. But I mean, marijuana is a plant. You throw a seed in the ground, it grows, and you're gonna lock someone in a cage for life just for doing that. But anyway, Karl, I wanted to ask you, so spending 26 years, 9 months in prison, and you're out now, what's been the most difficult part for you to reintegrate back into society? What's been the toughest thing?
Well, the difficult thing is getting a place to stay on my own, you know. And it should be just like it was difficult for me getting my driver's license. I had all the documentations coming out the door, but, you know, since the 9/11 stuff happened, it's like, man, you know, you don't, it's just, our system over here, our judicial system over here is so messed up, man. And it's crazy because the individuals that it affect, they don't even come talk to them or send us through mental counseling. They just, okay, you out, get out, you know? And it shouldn't be like that, man.
Mm-hmm. So did you have any, did you take any, courses or anything like that while you were in prison?
Yeah, I did all that. I got my GED. I took the drug program. Mm-hmm. I did all that. I mean, I did that for myself, you know. Yeah. I didn't do that because of the laws. I was doing that before that, you know. I just, had to get myself re-educated as far as understanding the academic world too. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, the justice system, and someday I would like all the ones that got life be able to go to Washington, and I would like to tell them politicians, man, to get off their butt, man, and start changing stuff, because they can do it, man. They can do it, man. I sit there and watch, man. I gotta watch C-SPAN for because in prison I watch news. I stay on the news. Mm-hmm. I watch all the news. So I see the BS they games. Like right now, it's games, and you got people is sick in prison that got life, and they not getting the medical attention. It's just crazy, man. And if a person now, because they took all the unicorns out of prison, so if the people that's in prison now coming out, if they ain't got no family support, I understand why they go back. Mm-hmm. Because if you ain't got that support system, you doomed. You gotta have a support system. You gotta have, man. I'm just so thankful for the support team that I got, because it wasn't difficult for me. Only thing difficult for me is telling a person how I feel, and then I might not come off right to them. So they get an attitude, And another thing, like I say, when you leave prison, man, when you leave it, man, the guys don't understand, man. This a day-to-day process of just getting acclimated back in society and just, man, I'm sitting there, today, today was my first day using a debit card, and I didn't know how to use it. I asked the lady just looking at me. I said, man, I don't know how to use it, and I don't want to say I just left prison.
Yeah, because you have to, basically, a debit card thing, you're sticking in the machine yourself, you're punching the number in.
Yeah.
I would imagine technology would be the biggest thing, dealing with a cell phone and all that stuff. And things like that. That's like you were just talking about. There's no sort of, reacclimation to that. They don't, teach you how to use a cell phone, right? They don't teach you how to use a debit card or how to do online banking or anything like that.
Yeah, all the stuff they teaching them, I could say in Oxford, like they tell you got to have all this identification stuff. Like, man, you need more than that. That stuff they telling us we have in prison, they need more than that. So I don't know what's to, why they don't give update information and none of that stuff.
Yeah, it's a big problem, and unfortunately, it seems like there's not a lot of focus on solving that part of the problem. There is focus now on at least getting people out, which is great.
Right.
Who are in with these these long sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. Yeah, but there's not a lot of focus on actually getting people, back on their feet with the skills that they need. Yeah. There are actually people that I've had on my show though that are doing things to help. A guy I've had on who's out in California, Michael Monsivice, he started a program that he's working with the prisons to teach welding to people who are in prison. So when they come out, they're able to, get a job and hit the ground running.
I was in this program with Goodwill where they help ex-offenders get acclimated back in the workforce. I did that and I completed that program, but shoot, the money just ain't, I work 2 jobs. I work 2 part-time jobs. So I guess that's the American way.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you had trouble with, you mentioned finding a place to stay. What about finding a job?
I had that at first when I got out. But,
how did you approach that from an interview standpoint? Is that something you would bring up right away, or?
No, I do that afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I say, when you first coming out, it's a whole different ball game. Just dealing with people. Mm-hmm. I'm so used to dealing with the ones like me, coming out here dealing with just citizens. Mm-hmm. You gotta just think for them and yourself too while you out here. Cause man, they so disrespectful.
What do you mean? Could you give an example or expand on that? How?
Like just say if you on the phone talking,
mm-hmm.
they talking to you and they expect you to look at them and talk to them, but it don't work like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? There's probably been, since that time period that you were locked up, I think there's been a big change in just like the expectation around how people interact around phones, because everyone's always on a phone. They're texting or they're on the internet or on Facebook or whatever. And people they don't think anything of it. They'll just start talking to you when you're on your phone. But yeah, that's something I didn't even think of.
Yeah, that's I'm getting the hang of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, I'm getting the hang of everything. Going to the stores and all that stuff too.
Just a couple more questions for you. So, you've been out now since January, right? And
no, I've been out since July. I was in the halfway house for 6 months.
Okay, yeah, since July. So, yeah, not that long ago. If you fast forward, if you look ahead, say 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing in 5-10 years?
Oh no, I'm gonna stay on the message. I gotta advocate, man, until I see change. I'm gonna advocate, but still I'm gonna live my life too.
Mm-hmm.
I go talk to the youth, tell them how long I've been in prison and all that stuff. So, yeah, I always do that. And then, it's just a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot just getting back into society. So people just got to be patient, man, and work with each other. That's all.
How have you been able to, stay on the path you're on, to not get pulled back in, to maybe be surrounded by some people that could pull you back into different activities? How have you stayed on the path you want to be on?
Oh, well, I'm conditioned, man. When I set my mind to something, that's what it is. Can't no money or nothing, change the fact, because, when you have a permanent effect been put on your life, it ain't going to be that easy for you to go back to something that that it's a trap. So
does a lot of that come back to, you mentioned that you had a support system that helped you get back into it. Is a lot of that the support system that's helped you?
Well, it's family members and like people I went to school with, the ones who were signing the petition, people who signed my petition.
Well, that's great. Just one last question, Karl. And this was actually given to me or recommended to be asked, and I started asking this a couple episodes ago. Malik King, who gave me this question, and it goes like this. So, I believe that each one of us has a unique gift or unique ability. Some people would say a superpower that separates us from everyone else. What would you say is your superpower that helps you to drive for success in life?
Oh, my heart and my mind. That's simple. You put your heart into something and you got your mind set on it, it's going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. I like it because it's got to be, it's one thing to understand the concept, what you have to do in your head, but to have your heart in it, to be fully invested in it, that's what it's all about, man. 100% agree with you.
Yeah, man, like I say, man, I don't wish no prison on nobody, man, but, man, prison ain't for human. Well, I can tell you like this, there's a lot of correctional officers and wardens and administrators. They need to start working at the bottom and work their way up. And then they appreciate just being on the job, just having a job.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't take it serious or abuse their authority. Because you got a lot of them, man, they abuse their authority. They'll talk to you crazy. And you have to catch yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's called doing a camera check. Got to always do a camera check where you check. You're not only checking for yourself, but you got to check for the other person too. Because they ain't thinking. If they going off the hip like that, they ain't thinking.
So would you say doing a camera check, you're checking to make sure that you're not on camera, and also if there's not a camera, then...
No, when I say camera check, I mean it like a self-evaluation on yourself.
Okay.
And evaluate the situation. Yeah, you got to know,
because they're trying to instigate you, right? They're trying to get an action out of you.
Yeah, but I don't feed into that because I'm much more older now. When I came in, I was 24, 25. See, I'm 51 now, so, a lot of stuff that they doing out here now, I did that when I was in my younger days. So It don't, it's not no instant gratification.
Right.
The instant gratification I get now is making sure I can change some or helping somebody else's life be better.
100%, man. Hey, just one last thing before I let you go. If you could give, one piece of advice, if someone out there is listening to this and, maybe they're about to head into prison or they have a loved one who is in prison, what kind of advice would you give to them about how to deal with it?
I would say is they have enough time now to study themselves and add what they want in their life and subtract what they want out their life. And once they start doing that every day, it become a practice. And once the practice become conditions, then they ready. They got mastered themselves.
That is the truth. That makes sense. It's all about creating systems and putting things on repeat. You do it enough times, it becomes your condition.
And see, that's the same way it got to be with the laws. See, we got to get all these old jokers out and get people that's smart, and they know the law. See, when you know the law, you ain't got to make create no messed up law. You know, you can make a law that is just for everybody. Mm-hmm. It ain't just for us. It's for everybody.
Right. Equality under the law. Really. That's what we should be striving for.
Right. And, I want to tell you, I appreciate you giving me this platform. And hopefully, whenever you need any participants, you can just call on me yourself. You can contact me, and I can give you what you need.
Yeah, I absolutely will, Karl. I appreciate you coming on this show and sharing your story. You never know who's out there, listening to this, who needs to hear this. Maybe they have somebody who they know who's close to them, who's in prison, about to go in prison, or maybe somebody themselves who's just gotten out too and found this podcast and your words have resonated.
Yeah, I got a few people that probably want to do that. I wish I could sit down and talk to you. I feel more better,
Yeah.
But we'll come up with some more ideas or something to make the podcast even better, because I like that. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't get the information out there, you just as guilty as the one making the bad law.
Absolutely, Karl. And we'll definitely talk. I'm definitely open to having more people who you'd recommend to have on the show. I'd love to speak with them too.
Yeah.
But I'll let you go. Enjoy your night, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, you take care. Nice
right.
talking to you. Looking forward to hearing from you again.
Thank you guys for listening to that interview with Karl Fort. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And I don't have a lot to add today. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think I've said this before, but going forward, I'm going to try to, and maybe eventually I will get rid of this little post-show rant part and maybe move some of my thoughts, if I have them for an episode, to be right after the intro. Because you know what? I don't need to summarize or add things to what my guests say. If there's questions you guys have about something my guest says, or if you want further clarification on something, then please reach out to me. We can have them back on later to dive into a certain aspect of their story, certain aspect of their case, to talk about it. I'm more than happy to do that. I am going to start to bring some of my previous guests back on to do a deeper dive into certain aspects. So I want to encourage you, if there are any guests that I have had on that you definitely want to hear from again, please reach out to me. Let me know who they are. Send me an email, felonyfriday@lionsofliberty.com. You can get me on Twitter @JohnOdermatt, on Instagram @JohnOdermatt. Just give me a follow and a DM, and we'll talk from there. In 2020, I really want to engage with the audience, with the Felony Friday audience, with the Lions of Liberty audience better. I want to do a better job of doing it. I'm always happy to get guest suggestions and things like that. But at the end of the day, the reason I'm doing this show is for you guys. And I mean, that's just the truth. I'm not doing this for myself. I enjoy it. I like it. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass, but I do enjoy doing it. But the reason every Friday, I make sure I have a show published and I push it out and I research to find the best guests and I try to ask the best questions and listen and really learn about these stories and try to pull out the best and most valuable parts of these stories from my guests. The reasons I do it is for you guys. So, I've been remiss, I think, in the past year, and I'm learning as a podcaster. I need to do a much better job engaging with my audience, talking with you guys, and learning what it is you want from me to make this the absolute best possible version of Felony Friday that it can be. So please, I mentioned my email, felonyfriday@lionsofliberty.com, Twitter and Instagram @JohnOdermatt. Give me a follow, shoot me a DM. Let me know who you want to hear from, what you want to hear about, questions you want me to ask. I don't care. Or just reach out and say, hey, John, you're awesome. I love your show. You're the best. And I'll be like, okay, you're the best. And that conversation will go just like that. It'll be awesome. I want more of those conversations. That's really why I'm doing this rant. But, guys, I'm looking forward to 2020. It's going to be an awesome year. And, at the top of the show, one thing I didn't mention was the show notes page. Has some information there on Karl and talking about his background in his case. Check it out. You can find that at lionsofliberty.com/FF209. Of course, you can find all the Felony Friday show notes pages at lionsofliberty.com/Felony Friday. You can see all my previous guests, all that stuff. So please, guys, share this episode. Share this podcast feed. Tell your friends about Lions of Liberty. Tell your friends about Felony Friday. And I wish you all a happy and healthy start to 2020. This is John Odermatt signing off. Always remember to keep your head up and the fires of liberty burning.